Okay guys, here's another example on how to graph parabolas. Step 1, identify your a, b, and c. A is in front of x squared, so a is going to be in 1/2. B is in front of x. There is no x term in this problem, so b is going to be 0. C is our constant added to the end, so c here is going to be -4 because that's my number on the end. So now we've identified a, b, and c, and we can now use these to help us. Step 1 of graphing is to find the vertex. We first find the vertex by starting with -b over 2a. So -b would be -0 divided by double a. So double our a, well what's double of 1/2? Double of 1/2 is 1. So -0 over 1 is 0. So our vertex is going to be 0, comma, something. Remember, when you find -b over 2a, you are finding the x part of your vertex. You're also finding your axis of symmetry. Here, our axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 0. I can use this axis of symmetry really quick to fill in my line of reflection. So at x equals 0, I need to draw a dashed line going up and down. I know I cheat a little bit, I just use my line tool. But x equals 0 tells me I'm going to need a dashed line going up and down. So now, I need to figure out the other part of my vertex to help me out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat down to my table really quick, and we're going to look at filling in the pieces to this table. So we know every table goes x on one side and y on the other side. To get the vertex, I first need to start with x equals 0. I'm going to make sure to star this point. That way I know that that is my vertex. So I'm going to take 0 and plug it in my equation to get my y. So I'm going to have 1/2 times 0 squared minus 4. Well, 0 squared is 0 times 1/2 is still 0. So 0 minus 4. 0 minus 4 is -4. So that tells me my vertex is 0, comma, -4. So I'm going to plot that point 0, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now your vertex point, which is down in the thing, should always, always, always be on your dashed line for your axis of symmetry. So here I've graphed the point 0, -4 over 0 down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I notice that my vertex is on my axis of symmetry dashed line. Now to make the rest of the table from what the x vertex is of 0, we're going to add 1 and add 1. So after 0 comes 1, because we added 1 to it, then after 1 comes 2. Remember, you're adding 1 to it all the way through. So now we're just going to take these values and evaluate. So plug in 1. We're going to have 1/2 times 1 squared minus 4. Well, 1 squared is 1 times 1/2 is 1/2, so 1/2 minus 4, that's going to get me -3.5, -3.5. That tells me my next point. I'm going to go over 1, down 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. It's going to be right about there. Then I'm going to plug in 2. Plug in 2. I'm going to have 1/2 times 2 squared minus 4. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 1/2 is 2, so I'm going to have 2 minus 4. 2 minus 4 is -2. So I have the point 2, 1, 2, -2, down 2. So there right now are my points. I've taken each point of my table. My vertex is the first point. There he is. My x equals 1 is the next point. There he is. And my x equals 2 is the final point, and there he is. So now what I need to do is I need to zoom in on this graph. Okay, there is our graph. Notice, from my axis of symmetry, this point, 1, -3.5, is over 1 unit this way from my axis of symmetry. So I need to go 1 unit backwards to get the corresponding point. So to get my corresponding point, I'm going to go backwards 1, and I'm going to end up right there. There's my corresponding point. Now I got to reflect this point also. This other point also has to have its mirror image on the other side. So this point goes 1, 2 to the right. So I need to reverse it and go 1, 2 to the left to get the next point. So the next point's going to be right there also. Now we have the 5 beautiful points we need to graph this parabola. So we're going to start at our vertex. We're going to curve up on the right hand side and get a beautiful graph. Then we're going to go to the left. We're going to curve up. I'm going to get the other beautiful side. Some things to consider whenever you're graphing your parabola. It must be a U shape. Must be a U shape. So always keep that in mind. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is our beautiful parabola. Some things I want to talk about really quick. Remember, A, that's going to tell me if I open up or if I open down. Remember, we're going to open down if we are positive. We're going to open up if we're positive. We're going to open down if we're negative. A also tells me if I am super duper skinny or if I'm going to be nice and wide. Okay, remember, I'm going to be super skinny if A is bigger than 1. I'm going to be wide if A is less than 1. And really we're looking at the absolute value of A, because A can also be negative, and same thing happens going up and down. Let me move that in so you can see it. Sorry, guys. There it is. Okay. Looking at B. B tells us if our vertex is left or right from the axis. Okay? If B is positive, we are left. If B is negative, we are right. Last but not least, C is going to tell us if our vertex is up or down from x-axis. Okay? C positive, we are up, and C negative, we are down. Sorry for not being consistent on that, folks. Okay, this is the short, quick refresher over everything you need to know when it comes to parabolas. One last time, identify your A, B, and C. After you do that, negative B over 2A. That's going to get you the X part of your vertex. Take it, put it into your table. Take it, make your axis of symmetry. Go ahead and graph that dashed line first for your axis of symmetry. Once you get X equals 0, put it into your table, get the Y part, 0, negative 4. That's going to be your vertex, 0, negative 4, 0, negative 4, because that's the first line in our table. Take the X part of your vertex, 0, add 1 to get the next two numbers. Plug them in, get the outputs, negative 3.5, 2. Graph those 2 points. After you graph those 2 points, flip them to the other side of the axis of symmetry. Make your U. Life's good. Okay, hope this helped. See me in the morning with questions in the morning before school. Bye, guys.